Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Marigold Manor. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you are enjoying the almost end of summer. I can't believe summer's almost over. I mean, we didn't even really get a summer this year. It's been so cold, hence the turtleneck. But I feel like summer just flew by. I'm sad to see it go, but I hope you're enjoying all the late summer activities. If you guys watched one of my last videos where I talked about creating a softer life for myself and how I did that, one of the things that I mentioned in that video was cutting out excess noise. And I just want to expand on that in today's video because I think it's really, really important, more important than I think we give it credit for. Our lives today are really noisy, and I don't just mean noise like things you can hear. I mean, they're busy, our schedules are jam-packed, we have school and work and family and home and all of these things to take care of. And then on top of that, you go on social media and you have literally, like, you have access to millions of people telling you what, like, a bunch of different things. Like, telling you what you should do with your life, what you shouldn't do, what you should wear, what you shouldn't wear, what you should eat, where you should live. And it's just, I fear it's become too much. Like, it's become too much for me, and I can imagine it's become a lot for you guys as well. And I think after my concussion and experiencing, like, actually not being able to look at screens for 2 weeks, which is very hard, by the way, I have a renewed perspective about what noise is and like what we perceive as a noisy life versus what actually is a noisy life. In today's video, I want to talk about how I've been trying to sort of cut out excess noise in my life, and I want to offer these things to you in case you want to do the same, because again, I know that we have really busy lives and I know that they can become very, very noisy. And when you cut out the noise, and we'll talk about some of these things later, but when you cut out a lot of that noise, you realize like life can actually be very peaceful and it can be very enjoyable when it's quiet and when you're not constantly being inundated with other people's voices all the time. So I want to talk about that in today's video, and if you're interested, stick around. If you want to watch the last video about creating a softer life, I will leave that linked down below. If you're interested in this topic, leave a comment, leave a like at the end, subscribe to the channel, that would be great, and let's get into it. So I actually did this before my concussion. I deleted TikTok about a month ago, and I did it because I simply could not take it anymore. I simply couldn't handle short form content. Like, I don't take in short form content anymore because I've realized that my system just doesn't like it. I am someone who is naturally I'm pretty anxious. I'm naturally an anxious girly. I have been for a very long time, but I realized that my anxiety is through the roof the more I take in short form content. I don't know what the like psychological or scientific correlation is there for me, but it definitely exists. The more I'm scrolling, the more I'm watching these quick videos, the more anxious I feel on a day-to-day basis. So I deleted TikTok about a month ago, just feeling like I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't want to see any more think pieces, any more opinions, any more information. Like, I said this to my mom a few months ago. I was like, I feel like every time I go on TikTok, I am assaulted with information that I didn't ask for. Sure, does social media and short form content have its place? Absolutely. People are making amazing livings off of short form content and off of TikTok and things of that nature. And there's also a lot of information to be shared and a lot of information to be like learned. And I don't want to take away from that. But for me, the benefits just don't outweigh the negatives. I also found that when I was taking in a lot of short form content, I was taking a lot of people at their word instead of, you know, hearing what they had to say and then doing my own research afterwards. And I think that's something that in our society today is really, really common and really popular. You know, like a lot of us will read a headline and be like, oh, I read an article that said ... even though we didn't read the whole article. Or we'll be like, oh, I, you know, watched a video where someone said ... but we like never fact check it. And I found that like the more I was taking in short form content and other people's thoughts and opinions in these think pieces, the less I was inclined to learn on my own. And that's kind of scary. That's a little scary because I am someone who loves to learn. I absolutely loved college. I am a big proponent of higher education and going to university if you can, because I think it's I think it's so valuable. So I'm someone who loves to learn, and I love to research, and I love to read. And I found that like with short form content and so many people who seem educated on different topics and who seem like they know what they're talking about, like with so many people having these opinions and sharing them with the world, I was doing less and less of digging into my own thoughts and opinions about things. Not only that, but as someone who struggles with health anxiety, I would go on TikTok and, you know, it would be like a cute video or a funny video of like a cat on a skateboard or something. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I sent it to my husband. But then the next video would be someone talking about how they were diagnosed with cancer at 23. And then next thing I know, I'm freaking out and I'm spiraling about something that doesn't have anything to do with me. Like, obviously I have empathy for people who are going through, you know, health situations and who are experiencing things and processing the way that they need to process and sharing that with the world as a means of their own healing. I'm all for that. But the way that it affected me personally was that I would then internalize and start to see and feel symptoms in myself that weren't there. And I just realized that like I wasn't gaining anything from TikTok, and you know, and I had so many videos saved, so many things saved in my little folders on TikTok, recipes that I never made, outfits that I never put together. And it was almost like I was just living vicariously through the people who were living on their lives on TikTok, and that's just not something that I ever want to do. And it's crazy how easily you can fall into that and how easily you can be persuaded and influenced, honestly. Like, they were doing a good job, like they were influencing me in ways that I didn't actually want to be influenced. I watched a video on Patreon recently. I have a Patreon myself. I will link it down below. I make videos on there as well, but I also follow a patron, I also follow a creator, As Told by Kenya. She used to make more videos on YouTube, but now she makes a lot of videos on Patreon, and I love being one of her patrons. And I watched a video of hers recently where she was just talking about how our culture today is so like stuck. Like, we don't actually do things. We just feel like we've done things because we're watching other people do things. We're watching other people experience life. We're watching other people, you know, have relationships and go on trips and do these things. But then a lot of us are living vicariously through them, not actually living our own lives. And I won't say that I was that extreme. I obviously do have a life. I have a job, I have a husband, I have a home, like whatever. But I did find that I was saving things that I was, you know, saving recipes I was never going to make. I would see an influencer wearing an outfit or a sweater that I really liked, and then all of a sudden I felt like I wanted that sweater too, even though I had never seen it before in my life. Like, just things like that I just didn't like. I just did not like the way that TikTok and short form content specifically was influencing me. And again, it was doing the job that it was supposed to do, okay? It was getting me to want what I saw on my phone. Like, that's what it was getting me to do. And I just got to a point where I realized this is not benefiting me in any way. This is not helpful to me in any way. This is not helping me in any way. And what I need to do is remove myself from this toxic relationship. I need to remove myself from TikTok because I don't post on it. I don't make money from it. So why am I a part of this? Like, what's the point? And so I deleted TikTok about a month ago, and I honestly have not had the urge to get back on since then. And of course, then I got in the accident and I had a concussion, so I couldn't go on really any social media. And sure, is there like a part of me that feels like, oh wow, I don't really know what's going on in the scope of the internet right now? Yeah, sure, but it's not enough. It's not enough to make me go back. It'll never be enough. I simply can't. And I have found that since getting off of TikTok, I have fallen more in love with a few things. One, being in my garden, and two, long form content. I also watched a video by my mutual Cynthia L, and she has a video titled like Why Feminine Women Should Live Like It's 2005. And I watched that video. It was a phenomenal video. She did a great job. And I was thinking about the fact that like pre any of this, pre any social media, like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, that sort of social media, pre any of that, we had long form content. We had movies, we had TV shows, and we had YouTube, because I remember watching YouTube in high school. So we had YouTube. We had long form content, we had long form videos. We could actually sit through an entire video without getting distracted 30 seconds in. The fact that watch time today on a YouTube, you have to make a YouTube video 30 minutes long to get a 3-minute average watch time. That's how crazy things have gotten. Since deleting TikTok and falling back in love with long form content, I have discovered that living like it's 2005 in a certain way, or watching movies from the early 2000s or the late 90s or even like the mid 2000s, it feels so good. Like, it feels so good for the soul. And the ironic part of it is that you'll go on TikTok and you'll see videos, like short form content of people saying like, this is how I live like it's 2005. Meanwhile, they're talking about how they live like it's 2005 on a very modern platform such as TikTok. Which again, I am not against, because here I am making a video on a form of social media as well. So I'm not shading it. I'm just saying that I think that there is this desire to return to a simpler time, a time when we didn't have so much noise in our lives, a time when busyness just meant like normal levels of busyness, like taking your kids to and from school, soccer practice, whatever, going to work, coming home, making dinner, prepping dinner, like that sort of busy, going to the grocery store, you know, and then having like a fun family outing, going to the mall, whatever the case may be, going to Costco and getting a pizza, sharing a pizza with your family, like those sorts of things that I think are so missed in society right now. And I think a big reason why is because a lot of us would rather make content about living like it's 2005 instead of actually curating a simpler and less noisy and less chaotic life. Changing gears a little bit here, another thing that I've done in order to sort of cut out the noise in my life is purge my closet. Now I know what you're thinking. What do clothes have to do with living a noisy life? When I'm talking about noise, I'm not just talking about things that you hear. It's everything. It's the noise and the chaos that builds up in life. As someone who is on camera often and who has been for the last 5 years, I started to fall into a very bad habit of feeling like I needed to have a new outfit for a new video every single time. And what that led to was me overspending on clothes and having so many clothes. I like just too many clothes. And I'm not ashamed to admit it, because I know that like we live in this consumption economy. We live in a time where it's considered normal to be constantly buying new items and constantly buying new clothes. And not only is it considered normal, it is celebrated, right? Like you get online with a new outfit and you're as an influencer and people are saying, oh my God, where's your fit from? Drop the link. Like I've gotten to the point where we are so afraid of being seen in the same top or the same dress or the same outfit multiple times. Do you guys remember when Tiffany Haddish first came on the scene? I don't know where she like disappeared to. I don't know what happened to her career, but do you remember when Tiffany Haddish first came on the scene and she was popping off? She was getting really famous and she had this like one, I don't remember what the designer was, but it was like a designer name white dress that she loved, and she wore it to like 5 award shows, and people kept saying like, Tiffany, like, why do you keep wearing the same dress? Like, you know, you're famous now. You can like have different outfits and things like that. And she was like, I really like this dress. Like, I don't want to buy a new dress for every single award show. Because we have now crafted, all of us together have crafted a society where it is normal to be buying clothes so often that they have created rental subscription companies so that we can rent clothes so that we can be in something new all of the time. And it just like hit me during my concussion recovery. I was like, I don't want this anymore. Like this is too much noise. I don't need all of these clothes. Half of them, yeah, can they fit? Sure. But like half of them aren't even really my style anymore. I'm holding on to them for like nostalgia or just because I have a hard time letting go of things. Like I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to hold on to all of this noise anymore, all of these items and these things and these purchases. Like, It's okay. And just so you know, you guys are gonna see me in this sweater again, I am sure, throughout the fall and winter season, because since when is it normal to like buy a completely new wardrobe for each season, right? There used to be a time when you went shopping for clothes when your old clothes stopped fitting, or when they ripped and they were no longer like able to be worn anymore. Now it's very normal to be constantly purchasing new clothes, new shoes. Oh, you see something, you like it, okay, you buy it, whatever. And it's just not healthy. And I found that I was falling into that as well, and it was creating a very noisy life. I had so much more laundry than I needed to have. I had way too many like baskets of clothes because I didn't have enough closet space. Like it just got out of hand. And so when I think about cutting out the noise in my life, I'm also talking about things like that. Things that just spiral out of control without you even realizing it. And finally, another thing that I've noticed that I'm leaning more towards as I attempt to cut out excess noise in my life is curating my surroundings to be a lot more peaceful. I talked about this a little bit in the Softer Life video where I talked about just loving where you live. I want to go a little bit deeper and talk about overconsumption of home goods. I love a stroll through home goods just as much as the next person. This is even more than clothes. One of the things that I love to collect are antique home goods, antique dinnerware, plates, mugs, you name it. You guys know I love that sort of stuff. But while I was in my concussion recovery as well, I started to think about like all of the antique plates and bowls and mugs and all the things that I've collected over the years that like not only do I not really want anymore, but I don't need. Like my husband and I are just two people. We can only use one plate at a time anyway. Why do I have so many antique plates? And I'm not even someone who really like promotes going out and buying home goods and like getting new like home decor every season. I've actually talked against that. But over, you know, the last 5 years, let's say, I've curated a little bit of a collection of antique home goods that at the time I really loved. But now I find that not only are they not really my style anymore, but I just have too many. And I'm leaning a lot more towards a very natural, very organic, and almost kind of minimalist mindset when it comes to home goods and when it comes to things like plates and dinnerware and table settings and things of that nature. Now, that's not to say that I, you know, don't value a fully set table and a gorgeously set table. I still do. But what I am saying is that part of the noise in my life was just sort of the things that I had accumulated. So many things that I have accumulated that I don't need and I don't want. So to close this video out, I would encourage you to take stock of like what's working in your life and what's not working in your life in terms of like what is creating excess noise for your day-to-day life. Is it too many clothes? Is it too many home goods? Is it, you know, too much time on social media? What is it that is adding noise to your life, and what can you do to minimize that noise and minimize that excess? Because life is noisy as it is, okay? We have to stay up to date on the insanity of the political landscape. We have to, you know, take care of ourselves and our mental health and our families and our homes. There's so much that we have to do already. And so for me personally, TikTok just doesn't have space in my life anymore. Short form content doesn't really have space in my life. Honestly, Instagram barely has space in my life. Like these things just don't fit. If they're contributing to making you feel more anxious or making you feel behind in life or making you feel like you need something that you didn't even know existed before, like they're just not worth it. Curating a softer and slower life means taking stock of the noise in your life and removing what needs to be removed accordingly. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I am hopeful that I will reach 20,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We'll see if that happens. I'm not pushing, but if you haven't subscribed, consider it. And at this point, I'm not super active on Instagram, so if you do want to keep up to date with, you know, behind the scenes things, Patreon is a really great space for that, as well as my newsletter that I send out every week, which reminds me I have to send one out for this week. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.